Imagine a man who ruled the cocaine trade, loved by the poor but feared by nations. How did Pablo Escobar rise to power, and what led to his downfall? Let's uncover the legend. But first, welcome to the Tales Across Times. Today, we delve into one of the most fascinating and chilling tales of the underworld, the rise and fall of Pablo Escobar. A man loved by the poor yet feared by nations, his story is one of ambition, power, and the cost of unchecked greed. Buckle up for an extraordinary journey into the life of the king of cocaine. The humble beginnings of a future kingpin. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia, to a humble farmer and a schoolteacher. Raised in the nearby town of Medellín, young Escobar displayed a keen entrepreneurial spirit early on. He wasn't just ambitious, he was ruthless. As a teenager, he sold fake diplomas, smuggled stolen electronics, and even sold tombstones stolen from cemeteries. These small-time crimes would serve as a foundation for his future empire. In the 1970s, Escobar entered the drug trade, a booming industry fueled by America's insatiable demand for cocaine. Escobar saw an opportunity like no other. By building the Medellín Cartel, he revolutionized the cocaine industry, creating a global supply chain that flooded the U.S. market with the drug. Within a decade, he would control 80% of the world's cocaine supply. Building the Medellín Cartel, an empire of cocaine. Escobar wasn't just a drug dealer. He was a visionary. By the 1980s, the Medellín Cartel was smuggling 15 tons of cocaine into the United States every day, generating an estimated $420 million per week. With this fortune, Escobar became one of the richest men in the world, listed by Forbes as the 7th richest person in 1989. His network stretched from Colombia to Mexico, the US, and even Europe. Escobar's routes were ingenious. He used private planes, submarines, and even hollowed-out tires to transport cocaine. His empire wasn't just built on drugs. It was fortified by terror. To maintain his grip, Escobar used a strategy called plata o plomo, silver or lead. In simple terms, take his bribe or face a bullet. Judges, politicians, and police officers were bought off or assassinated. An estimated 4,000 people, including 1,000 police officers, lost their lives to Escobar's reign. Despite his brutality, Escobar cultivated an image as a man of the people. In Medellín, he funded schools, hospitals, housing projects, and even soccer fields for the poor. Locals revered him, calling him El Patrón, or the boss. One of his most famous philanthropic projects was Barrio Escobar, a neighborhood he built for the homeless in Medellín. To the poor, he was a hero who gave them opportunities the government never did. This Robin Hood persona shielded him from authorities, as the local population was often loyal to him, refusing to cooperate with law enforcement. But behind the charitable facade was a man whose wealth was staggering and surreal. Escobar famously burned $2 million in cash to keep his daughter warm during one of their hideouts. His cartel's operations were so vast that they spent $2,500 per month on rubber bands just to bundle their cash. Hepkai, bloody downfall begins. Escobar's reign wasn't without resistance. By the late 1980s, his power became too great to ignore. The Colombian government, with support from the United States, launched an all-out war against him. Escobar's response was vicious. He declared war on the Colombian state, orchestrating bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings. One of his most infamous acts was the bombing of Avianca Flight 203 in 1989, killing 110 people. His target? A presidential candidate who was set to crack down on the cartels. Escobar also unleashed terror in Bogota and Medellín, where car bombs became a daily occurrence. By now, even his Robin Hood image couldn't shield him. The government, with assistance from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, formed a special task force to take him down. In a desperate bid to negotiate, Escobar offered to surrender to Colombian authorities in 1991, but with one condition: he would build his own prison. The government, eager to stop the bloodshed, agreed. La Catedral was no ordinary prison. It was a luxurious fortress complete with a soccer field, bar, jacuzzi, and a waterfall. Escobar continued running his empire from behind its walls, hosting lavish parties and conducting cartel meetings. However, when he tortured and murdered cartel members inside La Catedral, the government decided enough was enough. Plans were made to transfer him to a regular prison, but Escobar, ever resourceful, escaped in 1992, vanishing into the Colombian jungles. Escobar's escape triggered one of the most intense manhunts in history. The Colombian government, U.S. intelligence agencies, and a vigilante group known as Los Pepes, people persecuted by Pablo Escobar, pursued him relentlessly. Los Pepes, composed of rival cartels and former allies, unleashed their own wave of terror, killing anyone associated with Escobar. His empire crumbled under the pressure. Allies betrayed him, his finances dwindled, and his family went into hiding. For 16 months, Escobar evaded capture, but his isolation grew. The once mighty kingpin was reduced to hopping between safe houses, cut off from the vast network he had built, this final Cadre stand. On December 2nd, 1993, just one day after his 44th birthday, Escobar was tracked to a hideout in Medellín by Colombian authorities. A firefight broke out on the rooftops, and Escobar was shot and killed. The exact details of his death remain controversial. Some believe he was killed by authorities, while others claim he took his own life to avoid capture. Whatever the truth, his death marked the end of an era. The Medellín Cartel collapsed, but Colombia's struggles with drug trafficking continued as rival cartels like the Cali Cartel and Norte del Valle Cartel filled the void. The legacy of Pablo Escobar. Escobar's story is one of contradictions. To some, he remains a symbol of rebellion and defiance, a man who stood up to the system. To others, he is a cold-blooded killer who caused untold suffering. His impact on Colombia was profound. While his philanthropy improved the lives of some, his reign of terror plunged the nation into chaos. The scars of his empire are still visible today in both the poverty he sought to alleviate and the corruption he fueled. Pablo Escobar's life was a paradox, a tale of power, greed, and the human cost of ambition. What do you think about his legacy? Was he a modern-day Robin Hood or simply a ruthless criminal? Could anyone else in history rival Pablo Escobar's influence? Thank you for watching the Tales Across Times. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping stories from history's shadows. See you next time!